In my work at Tianmei World Academy, I developed a tool called the Center of My Environment. Why is this tool important? How it helps in life? How it helps at work? The Center of My Environment offers a way to translate large abstract challenges into tangible, manageable actions.
你要说啥子？我能听不懂啊。
We live in a world that constantly pulls us outward. Notifications, deadlines, expectations, and endless advice on how to be successful keep us orbiting around other people's definitions of a good life. In the process, we slowly lose connection to our own center, that quiet inner compass that tells us what truly matters, what we need, and how we want to live. In my work at Tianmei World Academy, I developed a tool called the Center of My Environment. It's a simple but powerful framework to help people realign with themselves and design environments that nurture rather than drain their energy, confidence, and creativity. What is the center of my environment? Imagine your life is like a series of concentric circles. At the very center sits you, your body, mind, emotions, values, and needs. Around you are multiple layers: your home, your work, your relationships, your community, and the broader cultural and political systems that shape daily life. Each layer influences how you feel and behave, but most of us spend our lives reacting to the outer layers, rarely pausing to ask, what is actually at the center of my environment? For many people, the center has been occupied by something external: an employer's demands, family expectations, financial pressures, or social ideals of success. When we unconsciously allow these external factors to occupy our center, we become misaligned. We overextend ourselves to meet expectations that do not fit our real needs. We feel tired, anxious, or chronically dissatisfied without knowing why. The Center of My Environment helps people recenter themselves in their own lives, to consciously choose what belongs at the core and how each surrounding layer can support, not sabotage, that center. Why is this tool important? From the perspective of environmental psychology, human behavior and mental health are deeply shaped by the environments in which we live and work. Yet most self-help and productivity advice ignores this. It tells us to try harder, be more disciplined, or fix our mindset without acknowledging how environmental design, physical, social, cultural, and digital, continuously interacts with us. Think of how lighting affects your mood, how architecture influences your sense of belonging, or how social norms determine whether you feel safe to express yourself. These are not small details. They are the invisible architecture of well-being. By becoming aware you are the center, you start to see your environment as something you can design, not merely endure. You move from being a passive participant to an active shaper of your surroundings. This shift from reaction to intentional design is at the heart of agency. How it helps in life? When you begin using this tool, the first step is reflection. What currently sits at the center of my environment? Is it my health, my relationships, my creative work, my values, or is it my fear of failure, my desire to please others, or my need to be productive at all costs? Once you become aware, you can start redesigning. Maybe it means rearranging your home to create a quiet reading corner, setting boundaries at work, or seeking a community that aligns with your values. These small changes can have profound ripple effects. When your environment supports your center, decision-making becomes clearer, energy flows more easily, and your daily actions feel more aligned with who you are. Imagine yourself being able to say, before, my life felt like a room full of noise. Now, I feel like I found the volume knob. How it helps at work? In the workplace, the Center of My Environment encourages people to rethink how they relate to their professional identity. Many of us build our work lives around what others value, the title, the salary, the prestige, while neglecting what truly energizes us. But when you bring yourself back to the center, you begin to ask different questions. What kind of environment allows me to do my best thinking? What kind of leadership helps me feel safe and inspired? What values do I want to bring into my collaborations? Teams that apply this framework often discover that well-being and productivity are not opposites. They are mutually reinforcing. When people feel seen and supported in their individuality, creativity and resilience naturally increase. From an organizational perspective, the Center of My Environment can be used as a diagnostic tool to assess whether the physical and cultural environments of work are aligned with the organization's stated values. Are we fostering psychological safety or only pretending to? Are our spaces inclusive or merely branded as such? Reclaiming agency through design. One of the most common symptoms of modern life is learned helplessness, the sense that no matter what we do, we cannot change much. We feel small in front of global crisis, bureaucratic systems, or fast-changing technologies. But the truth is, agency does not start from changing the entire world, it starts from redesigning your immediate environment. The Center of My Environment offers a way to translate large, abstract challenges like climate anxiety, social isolation, or burnout into tangible, manageable actions. Reorganize your daily routine to include mindful pauses. Redefine your workspace to separate doing from being. Redesign your relationships by communicating your boundaries and needs. Each of these small design acts helps reestablish your sense of authorship over your life. You begin to see that you are not a passive product of your environment. You are its co-creator. What are the mental health benefits? Psychologically centering yourself within your environment reduces anxiety, improves emotional regulation, and increases resilience. Environmental psychology research consistently shows that perceived control, the belief that one can influence one's surroundings, is a key predictor of mental well-being. People who feel that they can shape their environments experience lower stress and greater life satisfaction. Furthermore, designing environments that reflect your authentic self reinforces your identity and self-esteem. You no longer measure your worth by external validation, but by internal alignment. This inner coherence becomes a source of calm confidence, even amid uncertainty. A simple practice to try: take a moment to draw your environment as a series of circles. At the center, write me. Then, in the next rings, list your key environments: home, work, relationships, community, digital space, etc. Now ask yourself, which of these environments feels nurturing? Which feels draining? What small change can I make this week to bring them closer to supporting my center? You don't need to redesign everything at once. Even a small adjustment, moving your desk closer to sunlight, scheduling your creative work when your energy is highest, or saying no to one unnecessary meeting can make a measurable difference. Towards the end, I'd like to say that the center of my environment is ultimately about coming home to yourself. It reminds us that balance doesn't come from doing more, but from aligning better. It teaches us that we are not broken. We are simply living in environments that often contradict our natural rhythms and values. And most importantly, it helps us remember that our agency begins not in the abstract world of someday, but in the concrete spaces we inhabit today. By recentering yourself, you don't just heal your relationship with your environment, you also begin to heal your relationship with yourself. Before you go, take a quiet moment to reflect. What or who currently sits at the center of your environment? Does it nurture or drain your energy? What's one small design change you could make this week in your space, your schedule, or your relationships to bring yourself closer to your true center? If you feel like sharing, I'd love to read your reflections in the comments. Your story might help someone else find their way back to their center too.